Can you go get yourself
Hello,
a pull-up and stop?
and welcome. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. I'd like to thank our sponsors at Procyon Partners. Procyon, one of the top 50 fastest growing companies in the nation. They specialize in employee benefits, wealth management, and retirement planning. President Sean Rabinowitz, proud supporter of our podcast network and everything we do. Green Street Trust International, owned and operated by Rennell Jump and UConn legendary men's basketball player Jake Voskuhl. They specialize in tax plans for businesses large or small. They will save you money or get you a big fat return on your taxes. To schedule your free strategic tax planning session today, go to www.greenstreettrust.com. Pete Finch and the Finch Law Firm is located in Bridgeport, Connecticut. If you've suffered any type of personal injury, slip and fall, car accident, your mother-in-law ran you over with her car, your wife got angry one night and decided to stab you, the Finch Firm is for you. Pete has won legal battles all across the state of Connecticut. He will go to war to get every dollar you deserve in compensation. You just have to remember, in a pinch, call Finch or go to his website, thefinchfirm.com. Dynamic Human Performance is owned and operated by UConn legendary running back Andre Dixon. He trains boys and girls of all ages, all sports. He has a boot camp program 7 days a week, 6 a.m. You want to get in shape, you go to Andre. He has an athletic development program where he trains boys and girls in the sport of their choice from the ground up, helps them reach their full potential, be the best they can possibly be. Andre has sent boys and girls to college on scholarship for all different types of sports. To work with the best, he has a 5,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility in Hartford, Connecticut. Go to www.dynamichumanperformance.com. All right. Well, better late than never. Here we are for Honesty Lost with the newfound star, Erica Higgins. Yes. She.
I don't know if I'm a star, Steve.
Well, most people don't draw close to 30,000 people just on YouTube and their second appearance on a shortened show. So I would consider that pretty impressive.
Hey, it's fun and it's real, right? We're being real. That's I think what a lot of people are missing these days is just real honesty and being real.
Yes, absolutely. And you got a lot of feedback, which is good.
Oh yeah, share.
Good.
Please share. Actually, I'm going to tell you that it's Thursday night and I'm bringing us back to our UConn days. It's Thirsty Thursday, but it's a little different. I have a tiny little glass of wine.
Oh,
we're not at Huskies or Ted's or Penny Night at the pub. So this is my Thirsty Thursday, getting ready to watch a little basketball in a little while.
Yes, it's well earned. It is well earned. So Virginia was a big fan of yours, and I believe she's from Wilton, Connecticut.
Okay, yeah.
That is. She wanted to know what single issue you see most affecting kids today in our communities, whether it's yours or hers or the vast majority ones in Connecticut overall.
I think this is global, honestly, and I really think that the issues are based solely around social media, because there is so much out there now, and I think it's hard for kids. I joke with my husband that most adults don't have executive functioning or emotional maturity to deal with cell phones and social media. And I can guarantee you that kids don't have those coping mechanisms either. There's a lot of things that, now with Snapchat, which I don't have 2 out of 3 of my boys do, because my youngest will not get a phone until he gets to high school. But nowadays with Snapchat, you can see where your friends are. It's almost like Find My Friends, but it's constantly on. So if you see all of your friends are in one location and you're not included in that, you're going to feel left out. There's ways to know what people are doing, where back in the day, if you weren't invited to something, you might have found out about it like a week later or when you went to school on Monday, if people were talking about it. But now it's live. It's like real time. So I think a lot of what is going on in our communities, especially around kids, is social media driven.
So Snap posts your location wherever you are?
It doesn't post it per se, but like if I go in, if I had Snapchat on my phone, I could go in and see, Owen Higgins is at the golf course, or Owen Higgins is at Joey Puglisi's house, or, and you can see if a bunch of kids that you're all friends with on Snap are hanging out in one location, you're going to know they're having a party or they're getting together and you're not invited. It can cause, feeling left out and pressure and why wasn't I there, and a lot of that. So there's that component. And then there's also the component of, just social media in general, right? And I always think back when we were kids, there was 17 magazine was like the monthly subscription for girls. Like we wanted 17 magazine to come out and we could not wait for that next subscription. There were like quizzes in there, and there was, how to do this and how to get a guy. It was just like fun teenage magazines. For guys, I think it was Men's Health was like the thing back in the day. Like teenagers got Men's Health, and I forget, maybe Mad Magazine or something.
Maxim.
Or something else, right? Of which now that doesn't exist. And I have a funny story about that, actually. So we had things like that. Now you have supermodels in your face all the time. So there's like teenage girls that are seeing like, this is how I should look. This is like what I want to be like. Whereas we had like Christy Brinkley and, Brooke Shields. Those were like, and Jennifer Aniston. Like those were it. Right. And we all knew like that we were what we were. And yes, there was definitely peer pressure, but it was much different. Now it's in your face. It's like this diet pill and this supplement. Workout thing. And it's in the ads, and it's
Ozempic.
It's in everything that we're doing. Whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, this, that. So if the kids are allowed to have those things, there's no way of escaping it. And they're definitely going to be different based on their algorithm. So, I probably see things more for people in their mid 40s than my teenage son does. I'm looking at cooking shows and workout videos, and who knows what is going to pop up in their algorithm. But it was a funny story, what you were talking about before. And if you didn't catch on to what Steve's nonverbal communication was, we were talking about Playboy without actually saying it out loud.
Oh, okay.
That's what we were talking about, Steve. Our eyes met. And though that's what they had, Playboy magazine back in the day. And they would
more of a Penthouse guy, but okay.
Or Penthouse or whatever, right? Those were the two options. My brother and my husband were cleaning out my parents' old house back in December. And they happened to run across my dad's collection.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. So
how many years are we talking about?
It was the 70s. These were like 1970s, like old school Playboy magazines. So my brother has them. I have yet to like peruse, but we were cracking up because you had to wait once a month. It wasn't instant gratification, right? Like you could go, like I said last time or the time before, these kids could go on, Pornhub or whatever at their fingertips, and no one's going to know. So things are much, much different. And I'm sure if my mother caught my brother with something like that, he probably hid it under his bed or under his mattress, and who's going to look there? Whereas now I have no way. I mean, I'm sure I could look at their phone and like search their history, but in all honesty,
I wouldn't want to know.
I kind of don't, and they're teenage boys, but that's the difference, right? That's what like the 90s versus now is so different. So ultimately, that is a long-winded way of saying I really think social media is the hardest part for kids in our communities now.
And she followed that up with, because you have managed to regulate your kids' social media screen time and behavior. How do you think that monitoring it, limiting it, has changed your child's behavior, changed some of his friendships, self-image?
Well, ultimately, we put parameters on it for more, I would say, mental health and health reasons. I don't want my kids on their phone until 2 a.m. They have to go to school. They have a job to do, right? They need to go to school and learn. If I don't put parameters on them, it is a dopamine rush that they're going to get and not be able to shut off. So they want their next hit, their next hit, their next hit, and they're not going to know because they don't have that emotional regulation to say, you know what, it's time to go to bed now. And they shouldn't, right? They're teenage boys. They shouldn't have that really yet. Their frontal lobe
No, their brains aren't developed. Yeah.
Right. So for me to give them those guardrails of saying you're shutting your phone off at 9 o'clock, you might not go to bed until 9:30, 10 o'clock. That gives you time to decompress. You know, you can read a book, you can vegetate, you can listen to music, turn on Alexa, do whatever, but no computers in your room. Like at one point, Jack was a walking zombie and I could not figure out why. This was last year. And I couldn't figure it out. And then I found his laptop on the side of his bed. He had tucked it in. So every night he was on his laptop until the wee hours of the morning. That's why he was a zombie. So I took the laptop away. He wasn't allowed to have it. Now we have the parameter that he can have the laptop, but just not in his room and not at night. But you have to be able to regulate certain things. And that is the time that they're actually on it. And I have an app part of
you can limit it, right?
Yeah, so we can see how much screen time the boys are on, and in all fairness, they can see how much time we have.
Yeah.
So we have done that as a family because there have been times where I have been on. Now granted, I had surgery back in January, so I had nothing to do but watch Netflix and be on my phone. So the boys came home one day and they were like, we saw your screen time, Mom. And I was like, guys, I just had surgery. I have nothing else to do. I can read a book. I could be on my phone or I could watch Netflix. Like that's pretty much it. So they thought they had a one up on me because they saw how much time my screen time shot up.
Yeah.
But I find it's important for the kids to be able to be part of this too. So it's not just one directional. It's not to call the parents out, but it's to see how much we value it so that they can also learn the value of that time that we aren't on our screens. So it's up to the parents to do it. It's just you have to follow through.
Now, I know some parents that have actually like cloned phones for their kids just to see all the activity they do. Is that something you would ever consider?
No. So here's the thing. There has to be a point of privacy, right? Back in the day, I had a diary. I can guarantee you, I'm sure my mom sneaked reading my diary at some point. I'm sure she did. Kids aren't doing that anymore. So it's my kids, luckily, I have a very good relationship and they tell me a lot, which I value in my relationship with them. I don't think that hovering and helicoptering them and watching every single move that they make is beneficial for anyone. It's going to drive me insane. It's going to drive them to the point where they're not going to feel like they have any privacy. Do I check their text messages? Well, not Owens as much anymore because, I mean, he's almost an adult. So, I mean, what am I going to do? But Jack isn't. Jack's 14. He's going to be 15 next month or in a month and a half. And I do. He knows it. I own the phone. It's my phone. I pay the bill. But I keep a pulse on it. So I don't.
You have his password.
Yeah, I know that. Oh, yeah. I know Owens' password. Yeah. Like that. That's a given. But I work, I'm a mom, I'm doing laundry, I'm cooking, I'm driving kids everywhere. I am trying to survive as chaotic as this world is. I don't want to add one more thing to my list. And if that means interrogating my kids 24/7 because, they said something. Now, granted, if they say something that's bullying or bad, that's a different story. But they also need to figure out their own problems as well. Like, I need to teach my kids resilience. And if that's, I could be failing. I don't know. But I'm doing the best I can.
Ashley from Orange wants to know, well, she says, Erica, you're very unique with your parenting and a breath of fresh air. Have you ever felt judged by other parents, teachers, or online communities? And how do you respond?
That is an excellent question. And the answer is yes. When Owen was younger, he had a very, very, very close group of friends. It was 3 boys. There was the 4 of them. And there were other kids outside of that nucleus, but I was always known as the strict mom, always. And it bothered Owen. And I can tell it bothered him, but he also, and I would sit him down and be like, I understand that I am the bad guy. I understand that I am the strict one. I understand that I'm doing this not for anybody else, but for you. And then in the long term, someday you will understand. I know the moms judged me, and that's okay. There were times where Owen would be like, all right, we're going to a party here. I would call the mom where they said they were having the party. And all the other moms were like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Well, come to find out, 99% of the time, the mother had no idea there was a party that's going to be going on at her house.
Of course not.
So I did it because he was 12, 13, 14 years old, and it wasn't okay for me as a parent.
Yeah.
So yes, I was 100% judged. Was I 100% okay with it? Absolutely. Were there times that I second guessed myself being strict? And actually, Owen and I had this conversation when he got home from golf today. He was like, Mom, you're strict in some things, and then you're so chill in other things. He's like, selfishly, though, I don't want you to be strict on the things you're strict on, but I know you're doing it for my own good. Like, those were his words. So he's getting it, he's almost 18 years old. He's getting it.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that kind of awareness. Yeah,
I was judged. Have I been judged on social media? Absolutely. Especially because I ran for public office back in the fall.
Yeah, that sucks.
But you know me, Steve, I'm a straight shooter too. So I am parenting in one way, but whatever way I'm parenting, I'm also that person, right? I am as real can be. I'm not fake. If I'm in a bad mood and I'm out in public, I'm not going to be like, oh, hi. You're going to know I'm in a bad mood. Yeah. I'm just not putting a show on for anybody. That's just not who I am.
No.
I will take my shirt off my back for anybody. I will do anything for anybody. But I will also just be real. So yes, I have been judged online. I have been judged by other parents. And at the end of the day, with lots of therapy and lots of self-talk, I have to be confident in what I'm doing. Do I second guess myself every damn day? Absolutely. Do I know that if I'm not getting this right, that my kids will be in therapy someday? Yeah, well, I am too. And that's okay. But I'm doing the best I can do. And I think my kids are turning out really well. But I don't know. When they leave the house and they see what is going on outside of Orange, Connecticut, I mean, they're worldly. We travel. They see what's going on. But I don't know. They're going to be around other kids. Who knows what they're going to say? But yeah, I've definitely been judged.
Was there one thing that pushed you over the edge that made you want to run this past fall?
Yeah, there's been a lot of things in our town. It's very stagnant when it comes to our recreational facilities. So I've been pushing for a park to get developed for the last 5 years. We need it. Other towns blow us out of the water. Yeah, I've been trying for 5 years. Our pool, where Jack spends a lot of his time because he's a swimmer.
The school pool.
It's the town pool, actually.
Oh.
It's in horrible shape.
The school doesn't have a pool.
No, they bus the kids from our high school down to this pool.
And how many other other schools use it, or is it's available?
No. Well,
everyone?
no. I mean, so they can rent it out, but it's not no other high schools use it. Other clubs do, like other
Yeah,
swim
right,
clubs
right,
do.
right.
But there's just a lot of things that when you have one person doing things one way for 20 years, things go by the wayside and things get outdated. And I just really wanted that positive change. I don't like the politics of it as much because I'm right in the middle, right? I'm not a staunch Republican or staunch Democrat. I'm like right there in the middle. I did it because I just wanted to see positive change for the town and things getting done the right way. So that's why I ran. I think a lot of people, didn't like that I was honest about why I was running and calling out our current administration, who still got reelected. But I needed to just
People don't like change. People
no,
don't like change.
this town doesn't. Every other town around us loved change, and they all made change, but not in Orange, Connecticut. Nope.
No, not in Orange, Connecticut.
No.
Owen got into Union, which is a very, very strong academic school. Have you seen academic pressure shift since your kids started school? And how do you balance your, expectations and well-being with that? Because going to Union College is not an easy task.
So growing up, my mom was a teacher. She was a teacher for 53 years. She just retired. So by the end of the day, my mother, and she taught special ed. So she had a room of nonverbal kids. She was exhausted by the end of the day. So she didn't have a lot to give out of her gas tank at the end of the day. So my brother and I were we pushed ourselves. I applied to 4 schools. I got into UConn and that was it. I had to push myself. That was up to me to do. I didn't want that for my kids. I wanted them to push themselves, but I also knew that they needed to be pushed and the expectations needed to be set. So from when they were in kindergarten, I had a job and I had to go to work every day. And I would say they had a job and they had to go to work every day.
Correct.
But their job is much more fun. And when they're doing the job that I have someday, they're going to say, whoa, I wish I could go back and go to school and have fun. So that is how we have phrased it since they were in pretty much preschool, actually. And here we are on the verge of having a kid graduate from high school who has excelled. He's taken AP classes. And again, this is not us pushing him to do so. That's where he had the foundation. We talked about that last week, is creating a foundation for your kids to be able to build upon. And I actually, when he was going into high school, I leveled him down. They wanted to put him in all level 1 classes. And I was like, no. He was a COVID kid going into high school. His middle school adjustment was hard. I said, I would rather him be in all level 2 classes as a transition going into his high school career. And if he needs to level up at some point, he can. People were judging me and saying how terrible I was because I was leveling my kid down. Well, let me just tell you, it worked out great. He is in all level 1 and AP classes now, and he's going to a little Ivy. So I will say that I made the right decision, and I did the same thing for Jack. I leveled him down in everything but one thing, and he's doing great. So I will say the academic rigor is what you make it. I think our high school is exceptional. A lot of people send their kids to private schools because they hear things. They actually was talking to a dad the other day. He's got very little kids. He actually lives in my neighborhood. And he's like, our rankings keep going down. And I don't know if I might want to send our kids to private school. And there's a lot of politics in our schools. It's just everywhere right now. But I was like, I can tell you that my boys' experience from kindergarten to 12th grade has been wonderful. And they have had to learn resilience. Yeah. They have had to go through tough shit, but they have figured it out and they're excelling. And that's not every kid, right? There are going to be kids that get lost in the mix. There's going to be kids that are like, you know what, school's not for me. And that is fine. Like, you'll find your niche, you'll find but for those kids, our high school has shop. Our high school has construction stuff. Our high school has culinary and photography and a million different electives, graphics and computer science. So there's plenty of things for kids to thrive in. But I ultimately think it's the parenting style that shows how much they value education.
It does, for sure. All right, we'll be right back. Down south, we have Julius Williams, Jordan Harris, and the rest of the team of the Trench Mob. They train offensive and defensive linemen. They compete in 5v5 tournaments and college showcase camps all across the country. They have sent kids to schools like Florida, Florida State, Miami, Clemson, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, just to name a few. They have sent the highest percentage of kids who work with them to Division I schools on scholarship. To work with the best, go to trenchmobfootball.com. Ned Von Young runs the Fresh Fold Laundry Company in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, a high-end laundry service. You book online, put your laundry out in a clear plastic bag. They pick it up, wash, dry, and fold it for you in 48 hours. They also offer an expedited service if you need that as well. They have an online subscription model, weekly or bi-weekly, where you can get your laundry done that way. They offer deals for college students. So if you want your laundry done, you can do it in your own dorm. They have a pickup and now a delivery service. So you can have your laundry done without leaving the comfort of your own home or dorm room. To sign up, go to their website, my-freshfold.com. All right. So what would you say is the hardest parenting decision you made in the last year? Oh, that's good. You haven't had to make any.
No, I have. I'm just trying to decide how to articulate it. Because this is something that a lot of people do listen to now. So I have to I have to think about how I say things to protect my children too, and to protect their friends as well. Because okay. This isn't where I was gonna go, but this was a really hard challenge, especially being a mom of a first-time senior, right? Like, I haven't had other kids go through this process before. But I think one of the things was, and it still is, because we're going through the scholarship applications of like ancillary scholarships for, supplemental money for Owen. But it was letting him ride the horse and not give my opinion too much. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, it is my bank account that is paying for this experience. But at the same time, I needed to let him say, like, I kept saying, why don't you check out schools in Boston? I want nothing to do with Boston. Right. Are you sure? I think you'd really like Boston. And at that point, that's when I was like, okay, Erica, shut up. This isn't about you. Yeah. And he doesn't want Boston. So stop pressing the issue. I needed to let him, he knew what he wanted. He wanted a small school. The largest he looked at was Villanova. He knew he wanted a liberal arts school because he wants pre-law. Like, he had a lot of it figured out, but it was just a matter of letting him figure out where he wanted to apply. For me, I didn't really have a choice. I didn't have many choices because my parents couldn't afford much, and I paid for the majority of my college education. Owen's got a luxury that I didn't have, right? But I also needed him to have that independence. Like, his college essay, I didn't read it till after he had applied to schools. a lot of parents read it beforehand. I didn't. And I was unbelievably astounded with how he wrote his essay. And a lot of the admissions counselors, when they give you your response and your acceptance letter, they will make a note. And Owen talked a lot about, he's done unified PE, so he works a lot with the special ed kids. He did unified science. And a couple of the counselors were like, we love knowing that you work with special ed kids. Like, that's such an amazing quality. So they really read his essay. Like, it wasn't some like, canned response. Like, yeah, you got into Lafayette College. It was very, very meaningful. So for me, the biggest parenting decision was to kind of let him make this decision. That is a huge decision, with just a little support from us. And here we are.
Yeah. Did you ever kick sons out of your house?
So this is one of my all-time favorite stories. So I, as you know, am surrounded by Y chromosomes. So I've had this saying since my boys were little: Y chromosomes is the excuse for everything in my house. So why would you leave your wet towel on the floor? Why would you not pick up your socks and the dog now ate them? Why would you not empty the dishwasher and I have to remind you all of the time? Why did you not shut the garage door and leave it wide open for every, burglar to come in?
Pretty good metaphor.
It's a Y chromosome issue. So Pete has a story, and the Gronkowskis, right? Football, NFL. Mm-hmm. His mother had 3 boys as well. And his mother used to go crazy, as do I, because it's a lot of Y, and I'm my own female in this house with 2 female dogs.
I know.
I sometimes tell Pete that I'm moving out. I'm buying myself a condo. I will visit occasionally, and that's going to be that. Or you're going to build me a she shed in the back that doesn't smell, doesn't have wet towels on the floor, and I can just be surrounded by Zen a little bit. So I physically haven't kicked them out, but I have had to remove myself because there's way more of them than there are of me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you had a nice comment of Yamahama Colors said that you kicked my sons out of your house.
I did?
Yeah.
I've never kicked anybody out of my house before.
I know. I just think it's hilarious. It's great.
No.
I know. It's okay.
Sorry. I've never kicked anybody out of my house before. I know a mother who lives down the street, but it wasn't me.
Can you share a specific moment when a strategy that you tried clearly worked and worked well and made a difference? That you wouldn't have normally tried?
Oh, this is a good one. So I'm a yeller.
No,
my husband is not a yeller. I am a yeller.
Yes.
So yelling at some point wasn't working. So I don't remember which child of mine did something, but I ultimately just was quiet and they didn't know what to do. So then they got nervous.
You gave them the silent treatment.
Mm-hmm. I didn't yell. And that strategy, they were coming at me. Are you okay? Are you all right? What's wrong? Why aren't you yelling at us? So I was like, I'm not yelling anymore. I'm waving the white flag. It doesn't work when I yell. And then they were like, what do you need us to do? So it was reverse psychology. But sometimes I'm not perfect and I still yell.
That's not a big deal. That's not a big deal.
But I do. It is what it is.
You have a career. You're a mom. Your kids participate in sports. They go to school. They do well in school. They're in activities constantly. Would you say that there is one area that you can point to that you would say possibly failed you in any of those instances?
I think the hard thing is, Steve, is I am just like everybody else, running at warp speed at all times.
Yeah.
I'm constantly thinking about the next
And,
day, the next week.
and you have to worry about everyone.
Yeah, and I'm a orchestrator of everybody's schedule, right?
Yes.
So I think the hard thing is living in the moment. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of times that I'll be up at night and I'm like, oh, I wish I hadn't reacted that way because I only have so much time before Owen leaves. And I don't want him to think of those moments as like, oh, in the last 6 months while I was home, you know, mom was short with me, or, you know, and again, it's my own issue. It's probably not what he's thinking, but it's the way that I'm overanalyzing myself too, and trying to self-reflect on some of the ways that I'm responding, especially even with Reed. Like, he's little, right? He's 8. So a lot of times I hear mom, 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 and I'm like, what? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, mom. And then I'm like, oh God, I didn't mean that, buddy. Like, I'm just overwhelmed right now. I need a minute and then we can talk. So I catch myself snapping when it's not their fault. It's just because I'm so overwhelmed that that mom sounds like a fly in my ear, and then I snap. And it's not their fault. So I'm trying to be more cognizant of being more in the moment. So today, when Reed got home, he has a big project that he is due. He's Dwayne The Rock Johnson next week for school. So he has to dress up and do a whole. So we spent an hour and a half together. I did not have my phone. I couldn't even find it, to be honest with you. And we worked on this project together. We were engaged. We were having fun. So I'm trying to be more present because before I know it, he's going to be 18 and leaving the house too.
Yeah. No, he is. In your town especially, how many other moms do you think have the same thought process or philosophy on parenting as you do?
That's a hard one. Because I don't know. I mean, I've also learned that a lot of people have strong opinions on a lot of things.
They do.
And I try, and I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. But I try not to talk too much about parenting with other people because it could also cause a rift. Like, I have a very good friend. Yeah. Her son is Jack's best friend. We parent very similarly. She has 4 kids. I have 3. We're religiously aligned. We're not politically aligned, but we just don't talk politics. And that's fine. I love her to death. And we parent identically,
right.
Which that's why we've gone away with our kids before, just the 2 of us. We've taken them to Florida. We can just sit and talk about nothing, but yet we can talk. I can call her. I had a health scare a couple weeks ago. She was the one who I called. So I try at this point in my life to
that's a special level of trust.
It is. Oh yeah. And I try to be around people who I want to be around, not people who I'm obligated to be around.
Very good answer. All right, we'll be right back. Finally, we have James Whitfield of Luther James Insurance. For the last 3 years, James has dedicated himself to the art of financial services. He specializes in life insurance and insurance policies. He will save you money, make you a boatload of money, and do so tax-free. He also specializes in retirement planning because we know the stress that goes into thinking about retirement. How much am I going to need? For how long? Do we have enough? Because fear of the unknown is real. To contact James, go to www.lutherjamesinsurance.com.
Read.
I mean, you're nonstop. You're on the go between your job, being a mom, taking care of your kids, making sure dinner's cooked, the laundry's done, the kids go to bed on time. Owen is playing poker the right way. All those.
It is not a poker night tonight.
I
usually on Thursdays, but
do you get enough time for yourself, to get a little self-care and take that time to enjoy being alone and decompress?
Well, I don't get much time alone, ever. I usually walk I try to walk 3 to 5 miles a day. Lately I have not been because it's just been really busy. Yeah. My self-care this morning was going for cupping on my neck because I'm so tense. So I look like I got beat up.
Yeah.
But I have so much tension in my neck that my self-care today was the chiropractor. I try to get my nails done twice a month.
Twice a month.
Twice a month. I try. There's times where it's only once a month.
Yeah.
But my thing is I do need to work more on my strength, like getting my physical strength back. I love walking, but I need to start weightlifting more. But I also, with my anxiety, again, I'm a real person. I've had anxiety my whole life. If I look around my house and I see laundry that needs to be done, I'll prioritize that over weightlifting.
Right.
I will prioritize doing something for my kids over doing something for myself, which is totally not good. And I'm absolutely cognizant of it. It's just old habits are hard to break. I have lost 30 pounds in the last year just by walking and not drinking during the week, which I'm failing tonight, even though it was a very small glass of wine.
It was very small.
But ultimately, after losing my dad, it was a slap in the face that I want to be around for my kids. My dad was young. He was only 75 years old. And it hit a chord.
It changes how you look at things. It changes your entire perspective on things because something that you'll never expect.
No.
And it hits you and then you are reacting.
Yeah.
And it's something that you've never even prepared yourself for.
Yep.
So that's very, very challenging to do. So that makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to give you some rapid fire questions for you to answer. Kids today, too soft or too stressed?
Buddy, don't hang on 1 second. Somebody's getting ready for bed. All right, don't come in here dressed like that. Don't. And make sure you put your socks. No. Get the dog and go put your socks in the laundry, please, before the dog gets them.
The dog eats his socks.
Yeah, we've had to save the dog's life already. Yes, he is upstairs. Yeah, we've had to save the dog's life once already. Actually, several times. But I think kids are too soft.
Yeah.
100%. I don't think that they know resilience. I don't think their parents allow them to fall or fail. I think that is 100% a parenting issue.
It is.
And people need to grow a set and be okay not being their kid's friend. They need to be their kid's parent.
No, I believe me. Dave and Frank say all the time, the next generation of kids coming up, we're going to be in a world of trouble because they've never dealt with a minute of adversity in their life.
Yeah.
Social media you've talked about. Do you see social media overall as the problem or the parents as the problem?
I think it's a combination of both. I also think it's a combination of 80s kids were outside.
Yes.
My parents my mom would ring a bell and hope we would come home because we didn't have streetlights. We were outside from dawn till dusk and past dusk. We were building forts. We were biking all over town. We were gone and they had no idea where we were, but it was old school fun.
Yeah.
Now kids have their phones. They have much more interactive video games than we had when we had our Nintendo and we were playing, Mario Brothers and Sega or Atari for that matter. Now it's hours and hours they could sit and play, and unless the parents tell them to stop, there's no regulation. Kids don't want to play outside like they used to.
No.
And that again, like shut the TV off, shut the video games off, and go outside.
Yeah.
Find bugs, get
around. Yeah.
Do something.
Yeah.
So I think it's a combination of both. I think it's a combination of it's easier for parents to let their kids play video games so that they're not bothered than to have a fight with your kids about going outside to play. Parents take the path of least resistance now. They're busy. They've got too much going on, and they would much rather not deal with it.
Are schools teaching too much, not enough, or the wrong things?
I think, at least I'm speaking from my experience with my boys. I cannot speak for anybody else's perception, but my boys have been very well prepared. They have, in all of their classes, it is not, listen, I have sat through Board of Ed meetings where people are like, take the book out of the library where they're talking about queer people and pictures of this, this, and this. Like, give me a break, people. Nobody cares about your books on your shelf because your kid has it at their fingertips on their cell phone. Yeah. So pick your battles and get over yourself, because banning books is absolutely ridiculous. And I can guarantee your kid is not taking that book out of the library. But moving on, they don't have an agenda. Schools are not teaching critical race theory. It's not happening. It is ridiculous that the political agendas are saying this is happening. I am a daughter-in-law of a retired superintendent. I am a daughter of a 53-year school teacher, and I can guarantee you those things are not happening. No. On my life, they are not happening.
No.
So
I agree.
It's this ridiculous moms of liberty, and this is what's going on in real life. Unless you're a teacher teaching it, it's not.
You don't know. You haven't experienced it.
No.
Is it okay to let your kid fail?
Yes, and I do it all the time.
And you should be thrilled that they fail because it's a lesson.
Yeah. And I'm not saying like fail to the point where they're crawling into a hole and miserable, but if they forget a school assignment, they own that. I'm not going to be like emailing the teacher and saying, Jack forgot to do his homework. Can you give him another chance? No, he doesn't get another chance. Like, parents do that. Parents will do their homework for their kids. Like, who is that helping?
They do. And it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Do parents judge each other too much or not enough?
Okay. First of all, nobody should judge anybody.
But it happens.
It happens. So I think it happens too much. I think everybody, you do you. And you know what? At the end of the day, you have to own what you did or didn't do. So everybody should put kindness, thoughtfulness, doing right by other humans, volunteering, and being just an overall good human first. If you can do all of those things, then you can judge if you want. Yeah. But many people are not doing one of those things, and everybody is self-centered and all about themselves and not about helping other people. And I've instilled that in my kids. Jack has volunteered. So has Owen. They both have volunteered at our church. They have made sandwiches for the homeless shelter. They have done things for other people that are less fortunate to teach them the value of what they have. And that is what we should be doing, and we should be instilling in our kids and setting an example of our kids. I said, I'll be up in a little while. Go up and get a book, please. Oh, well, then I don't know what to tell you. They'll be up in a minute.
And you mentioned this before, but being a mom today, being a mom 20 years ago, there were different problems. But would you say that it's harder to be a mom today, or was it harder 20 years ago?
No, it is 10 million times harder.
Yeah. You can't win no matter what you do.
No.
And you're always questioning yourself, and you're always worried. You can't trust anyone. You can't trust anything. And you're constantly worried and second guessing, but you make the decisions you make, and you make them based on your knowledge and experience, and you hope for the best. And I think that you've done that in every aspect. You've put each of your children in the best position to succeed. And then
I hope, but again, who knows?
Do the rest.
Right? I did the best I could.
Yeah.
And I will be okay with the fact that someday I am sure that my kids are going to be like, why did you do that? That totally messed me up. And I'm going to be like, I don't have an answer for you. And all I can tell you is that I tried. That's it.
No, you put your kids in the best position to succeed. And that is the most important thing. That's number one. Parents don't do that a lot. They put their kids in a position with 100-pound weight on their back and expect them to succeed. You put them in the best position to succeed. You teach them values and life lessons that normally are not taught. And I think that they have a level of respect, politeness, kindness that kids their age don't have. So, well, great episode. Sorry, it took a little while to get going. And,
no worries. My technology just wasn't functioning tonight.
Stop throwing people out of your house.
Hey, listen, I'm dying to know who I threw out of my house. I do not recall throwing anybody out of my house. So I apologize.
I know. We'll have to look them up. We'll have to look them up. But yeah, you're kicking ass and taking names. Great show, great viewership.
Yes, send in more questions. I love it. It's great.
I'll send it to you when I put it up. For Mama Higgins, Erica Higgins, this is Honesty Lost. I'm Steve Cully, the best podcast host in the universe. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges. Right back.